All right.
That is so interesting.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Hello.
Bom dia, Uwe.
Bom dia.
Bom dia.
Okay, so we're
Awesome.
doing some wizards, yeah.
Yes. Hey, Gegana.
Hi, everyone. So welcome. We're going to be starting our webinar in just 1 second. For those of you that have never been on my webinars, these are the In-Body Wellness webinars, specifically focused on healing the world by really transforming your inner reality. And I've been bringing some really, really motivational, inspirational, transformative people to teach us on how we can really make some small shifts on the inside and really sort of understand that the reality is in our own hands and start seeing things transform from there on. So just to give you a little intro, I will let Vitorio and Evia introduce themselves, of course, because they have a lot of wisdom to share. But I met them there you go. Oh, we have someone else joining that you might know. I met them in a very kind of difficult time in my life where I was going through all these changes in the world that were really difficult for me to accept, specifically related to, war in Armenia. And, knowing that they work with this, I reached out to them and I asked them, is there anything that you recommend that I can do to really help, my people? And of course they said, there's nothing you can do because it's like, the destiny of these, big country, you can't really affect it because you don't really know what the whole situation is about. And maybe some people have to go through that situation. But what you can do is make shifts internally. And following their recommendations has completely transformed not only my way of perceiving what's happening, which is, being able to sort of step back and really understand that when things are kind of outside of your control, you do have a choice to maintain your calm and peace, and you really have much more to contribute when you are in that, in that state of peace rather than, frustrated, angry, and just like kind of joining the people there, with the frustration. But what also started happening is incredible shifts in the external reality, such as, peace deals and finally the end of the world. That, of course, I'm not attributing to all the work that I've done, but
You've done it all.
But I'd like to believe that there was something that my inner work had to do with it. So, without much ado, I was like, what, I have to organize webinars around this. And of course, they were the first ones I invited to really help us in the really crazy transformations that are happening around the world. And this is not just about war, obviously, it's about everything that's happening, to see our role in all of this, right? To see that we don't have to allow the transformations to just keep happening in the external world and sort of sit and wait, and see what will happen to us. And the two courses that I've taken with Vitorio and Evia, and right now, one of them I'm taking right now. The first one was about making your wishes and making them a reality. And it's really about this. It's how do you take some really simple steps. It's not that difficult, and you really begin shifting your inner world. And you slowly start seeing that you internally start changing, your relationships start changing, and then, other things in your reality start changing as well. So as we're having more people coming in, just one more time, for those of you that don't know me, I'm Bella Bablumian. I'm the founder of the In-Body Wellness Institute, and I'm really, really excited and honored to have with us Vitorio and Evia. Vitorio de Janeiro and Evia Dalbina, and they're the founders of Out of the Blue, an incredible company that's focused on really transforming this world with really powerful techniques, with people who they bring together to show us that this world is much more than just allowing things to happen in the external world, that we have a role in all of this. And so today's webinar is called What to Do When You Don't Know What to Do. 10 steps from anger to peace. And they're really amazing at having these step-by-step approaches and sort of, techniques that you can really follow in whatever situation. So I really encourage you to get a piece of paper and a pen and write down those steps and try them out as soon as you have this kind of situation. Yay, Diane, you're prepared.
I comes ready.
Yeah. So welcome, guys. I'm so happy and so honored to have you here. Please introduce yourselves in better ways, because it's really difficult to say like who you are. You're like inner, I would say like alchemists of the inner world. That's how I have come to see you. You use a lot of incredible manifestation techniques and things that, you see in other, I've seen these techniques used in other places, but you have integrated them in ways that are so easy to use that, it's hard to describe who you are. So I will let you do that and sort of walk us through what you think we can do in, especially now as we're nearing the end of one era and the beginning of a new one. Welcome.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thank you.
Bella.
Thank you,
you
Bella.
for organizing.
It's great to be here, and it's as difficult for us to present ourselves as it is for you, because we do so many different things. Yeah. But to make things simple, we call each other inner designer for Evia, and for me, soul alchemist. So that doesn't make anything much clearer, but we both
we have one single goal, and that is to make this knowledge that is sitting in the books, in the teachings, in million different places, to bring it together, make it as simple as possible and as practical as possible, and we only keep what works. So that's what we do, is to synthesize complex, different concepts and make them understandable.
Yeah, and our clients are people who have businesses, are people who don't have time. So
who are not monks.
Yeah, they are not definitely meditating their whole life. They don't have time for things that don't work. So what we do is we extract things from various teachings and make them kind of into a form that's understandable and applicable today. So that's what this is going to be as well for you guys.
That's perfect.
So
that's what we want,
about
right?
us. And I think we better get to the topic.
Yeah, because we have just 1 hour, so we have a lot to cover. So I suggest we all jump in. Just saying everyone hi, and beautiful to see you guys, and great to see people from all these different parts of the world, and some familiar faces that we love and know. And
yeah, thank you for being here. And at the end, we'll have like 5 minutes for Q&A.
Yeah, we will.
Yeah. Okay.
So we'll go for about an hour, and then depending on how fast we go, you guys can collect your questions, and then at the end we'll have a Q&A, and then we'll have some recommendations for you and links where to go and get some more information about this. Pretty much the topic today is about what to do when you don't know what to do. And, in the world today, there's increasingly a number of people who are looking around them and saying, what the heck is going on? So, if we didn't know what to do before, now maybe we know even less. So we need to have like a technique or like practical approach how to unstuck ourselves when we feel stuck, and keep on going, hopefully in really good direction that is guided from our heart and our higher guidance, rather than the place of fear or confusion that is being projected from all sides towards us. Yeah. So
we'll see a little bit what is the state when we don't know what to do. That is not a natural state, because we humans are always in evolution. So our energy is flowing. So something that is stuck is not natural. So for thousands of years, our reaction has been programmed to be in that action. So we have 3 basic modes of reaction when we
feel stuck.
When we feel stuck, and it's fight, flight, or freeze. Yeah. So people, according to their kind of preferred way, would either fight when they feel trapped or triggered, or flight, which means escape, deny, ignore what's going on, or freeze, that means completely get startled and unable to move, unable to do, so something else needs to to come and push them out of that state.
Like a deer on a highway with the headlights in their eyes, so just frozen and don't know what to do.
And unfortunately, until we make these reactions conscious, they keep happening. They keep happening to us. They take us by surprise, and we have seemingly no control over it. And emotions happen by chance. They're not supposed to happen by chance. If we are conscious about the mechanics that propel emotions through our body. So what we're interested in is to make this process conscious and to see how do we get to experience and express emotions, where does it come from, and to hopefully learn to avoid that it takes over you, and that you can take over them, your emotions.
So as adults, as people who have actually passed the age of 18, we have certain basic responsibilities in life that at least 3 things are expected from us. One is to have control over our thoughts, to have control over our emotions, and to have control over our body. We don't have a control what's happening outside of ourselves, but at least these 3 things that are happening inside of this body that we have been driving as a vehicle for so long, these 3 basic things we need to really get control over. If we don't have it, we are at the state either of a child or an animal who is being driven by their emotions and driven by their states and their fears.
And as Carl Jung says,
Carl Jung is saying, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate.
So basically, when we want to change the world, guess where do we need to start? Yeah, we need to start in bringing consciousness about our own processes that happen in our own body, and that eventually will ripple out and change the surroundings and things around us. So now, how does it relate to how the stuckness or not knowing what to do relate to anger? Well, imagine you take a water pipe and you close the tip with a finger. What happens? It's stuck, it's blocked. What happens at some point where the pressure builds up so much? Well, it bursts out. So that is the anger, which is just a reaction to inner helplessness. When you don't know what to do, you're overwhelmed by the situation. You don't know how to react. You have no solution, and you feel there's no help. And this general feeling of being, a little bit victim of the circumstances of whichever scale. It could be war happening or little personal drama, you missed the bus, whichever situation that is out of your control where you're helpless. Even if you miss the bus, you're helpless. You can't run after it. You can't manifest a new one. You don't know what to do because you just missed the only way out of somewhere. So this helplessness actually creates this surge of emotions that we experience as anger. And most of the time we don't choose to feel that way. So what happens when we experience that feeling, and do we actually enjoy it? So we could ask, is there anyone who enjoys being angry?
Yeah, well, actually we want to ask you guys, does anyone here actually enjoy being angry?
Like actively, pleasantly, right? Because there's this strange feeling, unpleasant feeling in our body that creates chemical reactions and huge toxicity, by the way. And Well, then also the question, does anyone enjoys being victim of somebody else's outbursts of anger?
Yeah, actually, take a time and kind of feel that, is it pleasurable to actually be on the receiving end of an anger?
Yeah.
In any way.
So it seems like we have a undivided opinion in this case, that we not only don't enjoy being angry, but we don't enjoy being angry at. Yeah. So then why do we do it? Why do we inflict it to ourselves and to others? Where does it come from?
So the question could be, can I avoid anger? But there's nothing to be avoided, because it's not like an obstacle that we are going and all of a sudden we bump into the anger. Actually, the anger is a state. We get angry. So if I get angry myself, then it means is that I put on almost like a coat of being angry and I act angry. So then
you don't fall into anger. Anger doesn't hit you. You actually, like, literally, this is what it says, you get angry. You put it on yourself. Of course, if you could choose, you wouldn't do that. Consciously, you wouldn't do that.
Well, for example, would you rather choose to be angry or maybe joyful or maybe blissful? So if we had the choice, we would probably feel joy. We would probably choose to feel joyful and not angry. So then why are we choosing it? It then means that the choice is not conscious.
Yeah.
It means we are victimized by something that happens. And if this is not our preference, it means that we don't have really good control over our emotions and our mind. So it means we have not done enough to learn how to operate this vehicle.
So when we ask people, so why did you get angry? Like why do you choose to get angry? They would say, I don't choose. Look at this, what happened. He did, that happened. I have reasons. So we always hide behind the reasons of being angry, because if you have no reason, well, of course you're not angry. But that reason is just the wrong perception of reality. It's completely distorted perception of what is happening. And
I was gonna say, it's also like a reinforcing the cycle, right? When you feel angry, you reinforce the reasons for which you're angry. You say, I have a reason to be angry, and then it's sort of a vicious cycle, right? So,
yeah. Well, the reason is that things are not happening the way you want them to. Yeah, that is the only reason. It's not because somebody did something. It's the way you see the situation.
We can have an example.
People don't collectively get angry at the same things.
Exactly.
Right.
We had a funny example that a paint bucket falls over a floor, like a wooden floor, in the morning, where we're kind of rushing to the airplane. We have 1 hour left.
We were supposed to fly to Bali. We are about to drive to the airport, and the paint bucket just spills
over. So my reaction is, oh, finally we can paint the wall, Okay, so I rush down, take the brush, and repaint my wall with the paint that spilled out.
Well, we repainted it together, but I was wondering in a moment, am I even allowed not to get angry here? My father would get angry. He would get crazy about this. He would curse. He would kick the bucket of the paint. He would really make a mess. So am I even allowed to kind of just paint? It's like, big shift.
And not kind of curse about it and blame something, the bucket or the ones who made the bucket lid not strong enough. So, this is all our perception. When we say that we don't have good reasons to get angry, all we mean is that it's how you see those things. And that's where we have the choice. Events, like, things are what they are. It is what it is.
They're neutral.
The bucket of paint spilled over the floor. What it means to us, and which will cause reaction, will be the beginning of our intense feelings.
So our interpretation of what happens causes anger and causes all the other emotions. What happens outside of our body is something completely neutral. For example, the dog has peed in my bedroom. Well, the dog has his own reasons. He has his physiological physiological cycle, he has to go pee. He happens to be in a room. It's all neutral things. But how does this hit me is my own interpretation of the situation. It's like, to me, I will have to clean, I will have to do this, I'll have to do that. I don't want to do this. So here is actually the technique, the cycle of how the anger gets born. There is a neutral circumstance outside of ourselves. We receive its influence and we start asking ourselves, first question, is this pleasant or unpleasant? Dog has peed in my room. I see it as unpleasant. As soon as I see something as unpleasant, I start to judge it negatively and I don't want it anymore. So when I start pushing something away, that's when the resistance starts, and it fuels into whatever little slots we have. One of my slots is anger, so it fills the slot of an anger. So it has nothing to do with the dog. It has all to do with me and my assessment of the situation.
And expectations to the world. So for some strange reason, the way our brain is built, we perceive the reality through what we see. So we think that we need to kind of manage our outer layer of reality, our life, or the whole world to match what we like. Yeah. And for some really strange reason, we keep fighting for it. We keep expecting people to be how we want them to be, or to the situations to be how we want them to be. Like everything outside should match, should, let's say, create the feel good for us. Well, it's a hard thing to do. I don't think we will ever manage to make the whole world up to our liking. So we might as well change the tactic and stop fighting against.
And it's not even a
the
point.
World and events. Yeah.
Imagine if I could make the world be exactly how I wanted. How would it be for you?
Yeah, where would
it
you
would be
go?
awful for all of you, because I would make it that it's good for me. So
you would pay with,
So it's great that we don't have that power. But what the problem is right now is, at this stage of our inner evolution, if our outside circumstances are good, we feel good. If our outer circumstances are bad, we feel bad. Well, that's not a way to go about life.
Yeah.
That's very volatile. It's really being, like swimming on the ocean with huge waves. We never know where we are going.
Yeah, my daughter called me today and said, Mom, I cried half of the day because teacher wrote me a mean email saying that I'm irresponsible. And plus she is not irresponsible at all. So I said, well, how is she having so much power to make you feel the way you felt? And she said, that's right. Like, she has reasons. She sent email and it's up to us to react to it or not. We can't surround ourselves with people who are only nice or saying nice things. So we have to change the attitude, change the technique, and understand how do we manage our reactions, and especially the outbursts of anger, because those are the most, they have the most consequences.
And it's much more just much more than anger, right? This applies to any emotion, really, if you think about it, right?
Yeah.
Like if you allow the external world to influence you, whatever you're going to be teaching is going to be helpful for managing other emotions as well, I imagine.
Exactly.
We are giving anger as an example because all of us know it, all of us have experienced it, and it happens a lot today. And subtitle of our sharing today is From Anger to Peace. And this is maybe the biggest of the contrasts from this boiling state that can take us and take over us, and we are in it for a week. Well, maybe we can just in few minutes just get back to the alignment if we change the way we look into that.
Yeah.
But you're right, it's all emotions are in that category, that we have complete responsibility to how we are going to create them in ourselves.
Because anger or any destructive emotion, let's say sadness, depression, they are not natural part of ourselves. They, like, you don't feel like that on a daily basis. Like, you're not angry right now, you're not depressed or sad, but you might happen to be overtaken by those emotions at some point. So we would like to take to build a sure way how to get out of any emotion, but especially from the intense ones who can really damage people around you. So that's kind of crucial.
Anger is a dangerous one because it pents up so much energy that lots of times it has to express itself in a physical way. And then you know that there are some technicians that repair that TV sets by smashing it 3 times, 4 times. And, you know, miraculously, sometimes TV starts working. So it's of course the luck, it's not very kind of high technical skill, but a lot of people try to apply it with people. With people, it works much, much less. So with people, it doesn't work at all.
Yeah. So when we understand even this little thing that anger is a result of helplessness, so it's already easier to understand someone who is being overtaken by anger. What was he helpless about? So for example, you have a traffic jam, you're late, you'll have to explain yourself, you're missing on something important. You get angry at every single car in front of you. Yeah. Because this energy of helplessness building up, you're literally stuck in a traffic. So what happens? This energy bursts out on whoever is there, because when you have someone to blame, at least the energy has a direction. So you can easily blame the drivers, you can blame the dog for peeing, you can blame manufacturers of paint pot lids. When you have a thing or a person to blame, you know, it kind of feels okay, it's natural, I found a reason, I got my emotions out, it's okay. But when you lose your phone, like Bella, with all the contacts, passwords, photos that you didn't save, you know, who do you get angry at? Well, then it's just you, yeah. But still, we manage to get angry at ourselves, so it's a double punishment. And why do you get angry, Bella, when you lose that phone? Because you're helpless. You're helpless, you cannot return that phone, and this is this helplessness that is at the base of every outburst, that someone is not doing what you want them to do. And you can even get angry at the weather, yeah, maybe not directly, okay, you won't curse at the clouds, but you'll curse at the country where you live, where those clouds are most of the time, you know.
As long as we find someone to blame outside of ourselves, it's such a pleasure to kind of direct that anger there. But this does not solve.
And I think also the advantage of really being able to get out of that state, right? It's not just going from anger to peace and really calming yourself down, which is important, of course. But I think it's almost like freeing up that energy that you were using for anger to really create something different. Exactly. You know, yeah. That's been something that I've been learning so much, you know, and it's you know, I studied psychology and I did all these different techniques before, but it's only now I'm realizing how controlled by these emotions we are often. And we think it's because of the external reality. It's only when you really like make that shift and say, no, it's not because of that. It's my choice. And then you transform it and you become peaceful. But you know, aside from that, you start really seeing other options and seeing other possibilities. So
yeah,
exactly like you say.
Yeah, because what it is actually is just energy. It's the energy that propels you in action. And it has been ingrained in our brains and minds from, you know, prehistoric times. When you're stuck, you need energy to propel yourself in action. Otherwise you'll die and you know, not survive, because like we can afford the months of depression, not the prehistoric guys. They couldn't sit and wait for the moods to come through.
There would come a bear and eat them while they are beautifully lying down and doing nothing.
Yeah, so they had to have, and we have inherited that unconscious part of collective where anger is the energy that propels us in action. That's all it is in its most kind of neutral state.
So what's really, if there's one thing to remember from this sharing, and now we're going to get into the steps, but if there's one thing to remember is that the responsibility for how you're going to react at external events is your complete responsibility. There is no one else to blame. There is no one else that is
responsible for how you feel.
So nobody can make you angry. You react by making yourself angry. You generate that energy. It's yours. You own it. And you are the sole owner of this beautiful property.
You know, I just have to share a really funny thing about that. My daughter is 5, and like, there's just very recently, within a month, she started saying this new concept that she created. She's like, I'm not angry because I'm not frustrated because of me. I am doing what you're making me do. So she finally understood this game, right? Like, you know, you're doing this and I'm becoming angry. So I'm really hoping to somehow reteach her. So hopefully after your webinar, I'll be able to show her that it is her responsibility. It's really funny to see that happening for the first time in a child. You know, it's like, it's not my fault. It's your fault that you're making me angry.
Yeah, exactly.
But this is great, Bella, because your child is now still, she has a right to not own her anger, because now she's still learning.
Ah, okay.
So you have to give her this right so that she feels it for a while, because it really comes, you know, like a child's life is awful. Children has to do everything that we tell them to.
Yeah,
We are forcing them to
slaves,
do
all
all this.
over their lives and whatsoever.
So while they are kids, they have that right to.
Yeah. Imagine eating broccoli, getting to bed at 8. You can't eat the sweets or what you like. It's awful.
Yeah. So she is right then.
What happened in ancient civilization? Huh?
She is right then. I will tell her that she was right in her assumption.
She's right. You made her eat that broccoli.
Okay.
So stop it. Don't give her that. But the point is, in all ancient societies, in tribal cultures, there was the ritual that was done. It's a ritual of passage, where you go through from the place of being a child to a place of being adult. And from that point on, everything changes. Your responsibilities change. You become an adult. In our Western society, we don't have that. So we stay children inside for way, way, way longer and forget to take those responsibilities. Well, this is why now we have this sharing. To bring it back to you and give you your responsibilities back.
Well, as the biggest responsibility for a tribe that we are living on this planet, it's a responsibility for preserving ourselves, our countries, and our, you know, human race alive. That is a responsibility. And if you turn your look back in the history, all the wars happened because of angry leaders and angry people. Yeah. So they wanted what they wanted, and they dragged the whole, you know, population into wars over wars because of this interpretation of reality. So if the peace is what we want, well, we can't be angry at governments who are not providing it. Yeah. But what we can do is that the peace starts within ourselves. And when we say be the change you want to see, well, this is exactly what it means.
The peace starts within. Exactly.
You start with making yourself peaceful. And if everybody would do the same, well, there would be no one to fight with each other. Yeah. And however small and however unrealistic it seems, okay, I will be peaceful, but all of the other guys and my neighbors, you know, they will never do that. Well, don't underestimate the power of even a fraction of population bringing themselves into that peaceful state. It changes vibration of all surroundings. Yeah. So that is the only thing that is in our power to do immediately at all times. And from there we can, you know, join together and do more. So that's where we begin this understanding and taking responsibility for these emotions, any kind of emotions, but we will now give you the steps about the anger.
So 10 steps from anger to inner peace. This is illustration, and then it goes for all the emotions. So step number 1 is recognize. So it's recognizing that you're angry in a moment. Because what often
it's
happens,
obvious, you know?
It's obvious, but we never
miss it.
Sit and tell, okay, this moment I'm angry. Instead, we fume and run and kind of do things, and we are already starting to lose control. So the first step would be, when you are in that state, take fraction of your consciousness to declare, okay, at this moment I'm angry. I recognize I'm angry.
Mm-hmm. So for me, I would say, I'm not angry, I'm explaining, you know. But, you know, recognize that you are actually angry and explaining a little bit too loud for it to be efficient.
Mm-hmm. So step number 2 would be feel it. So feeling the anger. So again, it would be normally so fiery that we wouldn't normally take this step of feeling it. So we need to feel in and observe areas of our body that are being triggered. How do you feel anger? Where do you feel it? Do you feel it in the stomach? Do you feel it maybe here on the top of the chest? Map areas of your body that actually are a fingerprint of you being angry. This is going to be super helpful, that you know your basic emotions and how they feel, where you feel it in the body.
Sadness will be somewhere else. Despair will be somewhere else. But, you know, usual pathway for how the anger travels in your body, it's very interesting. You know, out of curiosity, you can actually do it.
It's interesting to even see how quickly it comes on. You know, sometimes you just feel this fire coming from up, down, but really knowing and recognizing it, how it feels outside of thinking. Yeah. So then the step 3 is discernment. Observe your state and discern whether the state is pleasant or unpleasant. Do you like how you feel? Is this something pleasant?
Are you enjoying? Do you want to stay any longer in it, you know? So really, you will see, if you ever remember to do this when you're actually really angry, you'll see at this step already your perception of what's going on will start to change. Because when you realize that you feel the way you don't want to feel, you already, with your attention that you're bringing to your state, you are lessening the intensity.
Already you are not as deeply in. You are observing from the side, and that is this crucial thing, that you are not on the stage playing the theatrical role, but you are partly on the stage and partly in the audience.
And this step might seem, you know, simple and insignificant, but it is important to ask yourself the question, because we presume that we don't like the state, but when we actually answer that question, do I really want to feel this way? Do I enjoy feeling this way? The inner dialogue will take another turn. And
that's what Evia says is very important. It's not, oh, I know it from before. From before I know I don't like to be angry. No. We don't want the answer to come from your mind. We want you to feel now, today, at this moment, what is my reality now? And is it pleasant or unpleasant now? Not how it was a week ago or 2 weeks ago. How is it right now?
Yeah, it's not like, how do I usually want to feel desperate? Do I usually want to feel sad? No, it's at that moment when you're feeling, are you enjoying it? Yes or no?
Yeah. So step number 5 is taking responsibility.
Well, it's first we have step number 4, which is a question.
Okay.
Yeah, I was going to say that was step 4.
Yeah. I skipped one, yes.
It is a question, and the question is very honest. So who is generating that feeling? Yeah.
Who generates and feels this anger?
And again, no presumptions, of course, me. No, like really asking yourself, so who is generating? Because when you're angry, like you're taking that poison, right? So not the one who you are angry at. So who is suffering from all those inner processes is you. So you are basically doing that to yourself. And when you ask these questions, like, why am I doing this to myself? Why am I doing this to myself? And you have to honestly answer, because the thing didn't go how I wanted, or because I lost my phone.
But really
and you will see that that dialogue will take you to some interesting places. If you can ask, why am I doing this to myself? Creating this toxic feeling inside. Like, is that phone worth it? Is that traffic jam worth it? Is this whatever went wrong worth it?
Yeah, like even signs.
Yeah, or why am I doing this to the other person? So is it worth that I will traumatize my child by screaming at him? Like, really ask yourself question, is it worth that I will you know, throw a dirt ball to my partner, and I'll enjoy it maybe for a second, but you know, am I really enjoying inflicting my anger onto someone else? And that honest answer will, again, it's all energetic. You'll see when you engage with yourself in that dialogue, you'll have some gems coming up. Like, why are you doing those things? Because we never ask.
Revelations will come. And together with this question comes that there is this scientific research that by now all science says that whenever you generate anger, you generate poison in your body. So you're literally poisoning yourself by feeling anger, which means if you are allowing yourself to do this, you're literally killing yourself. You're creating cancer, or you're creating any sort of awful diseases in your body at that moment. You are doing it to yourself. So this question, why are you doing it, and why to yourself, and why are you doing it to others, take this into consideration as well.
The answer might be also, I can't help it. It just happens.
Right.
I can't.
That was the question I actually had. What if it's the type of like self-righteous anger where you think that you have the right and that's the only way that you can resolve the situation?
Well, that is also a good thing, because if you have a self-righteous anger that, okay, this is the only way I can move that thing forward, then you wouldn't have to suffer from that feeling. You would just generate energy to do the thing. So you wouldn't have all the churning kind of and thoughts and obsessive ideas along with it. So you can generate easily the idea to the energy to do anything without the side effects. Yeah, because we have that access to that energy. It's what we do with it that changes everything, right? So that's why the step number 5 would be...
Step number 5 is taking responsibility. So taking full responsibility for generating the energy of anger, for consciously or unconsciously putting on yourself a coat of anger. So imagine that you're really putting on your role of me angry. And you can look at it as a coat that you put on. Yeah.
Of course, if you haven't chosen it, you have answered in the previous question, I can't help it. Why do I do it to myself? I don't know. I can't help it. So consciously or unconsciously, but taking full responsibility and recognizing, well, yeah, I did it. I am in this state. I did it all to myself. And
maybe I was not strong enough to prevent it. It's a decent answer, but you got to answer it so that you understand that it had overpowered you.
Yeah. And many people actually feel even more angry at this thought because as the anger is a result of helplessness, when you yet another time get into this stressful situation of being angry at someone, yelling at the kids, then you feel helpless because you can't stop it, because you can't avoid it. So you get even more angry. And those fiery people, this is what happens. It escalates upon itself. Helplessness upon helplessness upon helplessness. It's not that they really would want to be that way.
So Aries, Leo, Sagittarius, those guys will really kind of, especially Aries, will have national preponderance, natural way to actually just flame up. And it's good to know, this is my vehicle, I flame up easily, but I own it. So this is taking responsibility, step number 5. Step number 6, once that you have taken responsibility, you know it's yours, now you own it. So owning it is number 6.
Yeah, it belongs to me. It's my anger. I do what I want with it. Because we can only and only change what's ours. We can't change this projected anger. While we are in this idea that you're angry because of someone, you can't change it. But when you are just radically honest with yourself and said, I got angry all by myself because I misinterpreted the situation. So now I own it and now I can do something with it. Now I have a possibility to act on it because it's mine. Yeah. You can only change what's yours. So that's the owning it.
So then we have number 7, and this is choosing. Choose what you're going to do with it. Yeah. So choose what you will do with the energy of your anger. Choices could be continue to rage and continue to lose control. Of course, it's not a very wise choice, but you have it. Other choices would be to do something with that energy, and those are maybe more
to plug
aligned
it into something. You know, if it's there, okay, let's use it. It's a choice.
But maybe the most important option that you have is to choose to learn and educate yourself about ways to deal with anger. Because if you allowed yourself to already be on this point, and we are all after 18 years of age, so we have this responsibility already, it means is that we have not learned enough about how to deal with this. So one very, very important thing would be decide to learn about this.
It should be taught at school, and at my daughter's school in Bali, it was taught. So they made, the kids made a jar full of paint and glitter. So when the jar is just standing, all the glitter and paint is down. And when they agitate the jar, it all gets mixed up and kind of moving in all sides, yeah? And so my daughter came home and said, you know what is anger? This is when you're angry. You shake, somebody shakes your jar and you get in this state. So what you need to do is to put the jar down and let it all settle, yeah?
I'm gonna say my daughter also got this book, an amazing book. I wish I had it with me. It's about a monster with the colors. I think it's from France, actually, this book. And it shows how the monster goes through the different emotions. And the anger, I think, was red, or I can't remember. But it's really a nice way, you know, for children to recognize and say, like you said, like, where do you feel it and how do you feel it, right? And it's something so important to learn as we're you know, from young age.
Exactly. Where if we weren't taught so far, it's okay, you know, no matter at which point you realize that this is like that. And for any kind of emotion, you can always make that step and educate yourself around it. That's okay. You haven't missed anything. Any moment is good.
But there is no really excuse not to do it. That's actually important thing.
The choice is also to kind of ignore it and keep going until at some point, you know, there are people who really have caused so much damage around them that they have to do something about it. So, you know, why not?
It will come sooner or later. It's good to deal with it sooner, but the world will bring, and the life will bring the situations that are loud enough that eventually we're going to have to deal with that. So this is choosing, number 7. Now number 8, releasing the energy. So we're going to have 2 releases. First is releasing the energy, because it's a huge pent up energy. So we need to channel out the physical energy through the body somehow, yeah?
Yeah, because that kind of inner volcano that you're feeling, you know, you can't put a lid on it. It has to come out. So it can come out in those unconscious ways of screaming, hitting, cursing, swearing. But it's just a surge of energy. That's it. If we see it as that, so we say, okay, if it's just energy, well, why to, like with the fire, why to burn down the house? I can, you know, actually heat the house or cook a meal. So to channel that energy somewhere, it's very crucial, because it's already there. It's on your body. So if you have an option to sit down and let it come, well, that is one way. But you can as well take that motion on and plug it into something, in something beneficial.
We are always kind of advocating living with universal energies and actually using those waves of energy like a surfing with the waves, energetic waves that we live with. Well, the surf wave is already here. Why don't we plug it into something useful? So rather than kind of letting the surf wave die out, and then we need to generate another one.
Yeah, if I get irritated, for example, with about children or some other kind of big frustration I can't deal with, well, I have my already pre-selected activities that I will do, for example, to sort out things in the basement, or like really something that I have no time or energy to do otherwise. The worst kind of cleaning things I put aside for the time when I really am, you know, too buzzing to do anything else. So I go and, you know, dig the garden or pull out the weeds or chop chop things, yeah. And it's super productive because that's how Zane calls me. I'm going like tornado, like tick, 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 you know, like drr, 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 drr. And everything is done in 30 minutes. The energy is gone, the garden is perfect, and or the house is clean, or the drawers are, or I have thrown out everything. Depends on the mood, but have your favorite activity like ready, the corner where you will go to release the energy. It's very productive.
I have to say something about that because, you know, at Embody, that's something really strong, you know, with the sensefulness method and everything, because, you know, we allow, like you said in the beginning, is that the fight and flight reaction, right? That happens with us. It's there, you know, we have generated those fight or flight hormones, and they're there. And, you know, recognizing them is one thing, but taking them out of your body is so important. And oftentimes we think of exercise or, you know, these things as something that we have to do to, you know, lose weight or whatnot. But for me, exercise has become actually the most powerful way to take those hormones out of your body and really to use them. You know, you're killing two birds at the same time, right? You're like controlling your anger and you're doing exercise, which is good. So when you're expressing yourself. So yeah, I completely agree with that.
Yeah, but if you have no garden, I mean, it matches any situation. You have no garden, you can go running. If you have nothing to clean, just jump. You know, if you're standing in the office, in the station, you know, run up and down the stairs. Anything that you have, you can use to express that energy.
Nature also helps, like getting in the nature if you can, maybe climbing something that is close by, or like engaging with the ocean, something where you are maybe barefoot on the soil, because this energy naturally gravitates towards the earth, and it will ground from your body into the earth as if you're really grounded, like electrical machine.
Yeah,
it naturally flows in
thunder. How you call that thunder thing?
Yeah,
that collects the thunder and goes in the earth. Yeah,
like the lightning rod.
Lightning rod.
So naturally it flows into the earth. If you can just take these shoes off and be few like minutes on the grass, it goes off, and earth is actually really grateful to receive that, because this energy really feeds little critters that are living in earth. So you can imagine that you're really giving this as a gift out of you. For you it's poison, for other beings it's food. So you actually give this and do something good with this energy, rather than kind of keeping it in.
Yeah, so the energy is intense, and whatever you want to release, there are 3 things that you shouldn't do when you are in that state. So don't release it on people. Yeah, they don't deserve, it's too much, they can't handle. Other thing, you don't cook, because you don't want to charge the food, and plus it will not taste good. Yeah, so don't cook when you're in that state. And the third one, don't make any decisions.
Have you seen that movie like Water for Chocolate, where she cooks with all of her emotions and everyone gets sick from it? Yeah, don't do it.
Yeah, it's really at Binoche. It's beautiful.
Yeah. So no cooking, no punching people, and no decision making.
I mean, your family members will withstand it somehow, but they will not enjoy it. Just like you said that you don't enjoy that when anger comes to you, they will withstand it, but they will certainly not enjoy it, and they will withstand it to a point, and the damage will be made. So yeah, we don't do it on people.
Yeah. So this is what happens when we actually choose, okay, I'm in this state, and this is what I choose to do with energy, and you're conscious that it's just energy. Yeah.
So then we release the energy. That was number 8.
From the body. Yeah. So this is the point. Energy that is trapped in the body, it has to go out one way or the other. Otherwise, you'll not sleep.
Exactly. Number 9, we release the energy. Number 9, now we release emotions and thoughts. Okay. So we have to do a second round of release, and this is really channeling out the emotions and thoughts. So the way this works is thoughts generate these emotions. Your interpretation of situation generated the emotion of anger. The situation was neutral, but you have generated the anger. So you release the thoughts and feelings. When you release the thoughts, feelings go with them together, because they are mutually causing each other.
Yeah. So essential point here would be to say them out loud. If you have a possibility, if you have someone understanding that can actually hear and hold the field for it, it's fantastic. If it's too much for other people to hold space for your anger, well, you can write it. But for any other emotion, this is crucial. When you can say it out loud, you get that thought out of your head and it stops existing. Otherwise, it's trapped and looping in and in and in and in and in. Oh, he did that, he did that, he did that. So when you say it out loud or when you write it out, it's out. It's literally out and you already feel better. You know how many people say, oh, thank you for listening, I feel so much better. Well, there's a reason exactly this, because that thought is no longer looping like a trapped bee in your head. It's just out. That's it. So open the window of your mouth and let it out.
The good listener will actually take this energy out of you and ground it into the earth. So that's what will happen. They will not be damaged. They will just get it out in earth, and they will help you in this release. And that's for thoughts and for emotions. We suggest that you use idle mantra or a prayer. And the one that we love using is Oponopono.
So you said a little bit the other way around. So for emotions, it's saying it out loud. But for the mind, so once we unhook the mind from that obsessive idea that created the emotion, we have to turn it to something else immediately. Yeah.
So,
and something of a higher value than what we had looping in our head.
So as thoughts, we can have 3 levels of thoughts. We can have thoughts that are divine thoughts, connecting to the divine, to God and spiritual realms. We can have everyday thoughts, or we can have dark thoughts. Well, this is plugging into the high thoughts and saying the prayer Oponopono, which goes like this, very easy. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I love you. Thank you. You can chant this as a mantra. You can say it, repeat it at least 3 times. But if you can chant it as a mantra, let this become like a cycle of energy coming out of you through chanting it. Come up with the music for it and just sing it.
So many people know that this Oponopono prayer works. And the reason why it works is because by repeating it, you are turning your thoughts to this kind of emotions. I love you, forgive me. So forgiveness and gratefulness and love, this is what you say. So because your thoughts generate your emotions, you start feeling it. If you feel love, you can no longer feel that anger. So the essential point here is to turn your thoughts to something that you don't have to think, you just know, and you just repeat.
And you know that it's high vibration. You don't have to check. It's already in those divine thoughts. So it's bringing all of your vibration and energy up.
Yeah. So by repeating it at least 3 times, already you install a different kind of circuit in your brain, and the emotions react accordingly. And there is this peace and love and, sort of compassion installing. And people say, oh, yeah, wow, that works. Yes, it does, because you have changed the way you see the world for that time.
And finally, we have the step number 10. We call it, it's a line. So this is your full energetic body alignment exercise. And this exercise is very simple. It's like a 5-minute exercise. We have it recorded.
Not even 5 minutes.
3 minutes.
It's almost instant. Yeah. We always share it because it really works. And when you're angry, what happens? You're having sort of explosion in your system. Like your mind goes one way, your heart goes somewhere else, your light bodies are shut down. So there's a mess. Yeah. You have to bring it back together, so that you can, just continue right then and there. So there's a way to align all your system at once in very, very easy ways. And maybe you can demonstrate it right here and now.
Maybe, yeah, you go ahead and do it, because we will also send you the YouTube video that we recorded it, and you can always practice it. But I don't know if you're going to be able to show it, because we are kind of zoomed in a lot.
Okay, we'll just give the idea, and you can kind of write it down quickly. It's very, very easy, because the idea is to make a physical gesture that follows a certain points on your body, that you name them, and by bringing your attention to those points, actually the energy follows and everything aligns to, you know, to
where
how
you
it
have
originally
pointed.
is supposed to be. So we would normally do it standing, and we would start with hands joined up
Above the head,
like
this,
however it
up.
reaches, hands joined together up above your head, and you would say, I'm asking my higher self, because here's the higher self is like those 40 centimeters above your head. So I'm asking my higher self to align my mind, and you bring your palms to the mind, to align my mind, my heart, and you point to the heart, and my physical body. No, here, Victor. Physical body is on the shoulders, left shoulder, right shoulder. So it already makes a sort of a cross, and all of my light bodies, and you circle around and bring it back to the heart with the center of the earth.
So we point down.
You point down, so you get your grounding connected, and then you bring it back up to where you started, and the great central sun. So you bring it up, and it's like the loop
in the center
is
to the
finished.
Center of the galaxy.
And then and then you can improvise and make it cute, and with gratitude I send it to all of you. Then you can do whatever you want with that energy, because by practicing you will feel that it generates a very beautiful cloud of energy. So one more time in accelerated way, without interruption. I'll just show it.
Okay.
So I'm asking my higher self to align my mind and my heart and my physical body and all of my light bodies with the center of the earth and the great central sun. And with gratitude, I embrace myself and give yourself a big hug, for surviving the anger attack. Yeah. So it's that easy, and you just have to kind of get in that groove. And it's funny, because if you do it with fingers, it's almost like a cross, that we do like this, but with joining everything together and plugging in the earth and back in the sky. Extremely easy and fast, and it works every single time.
So energy follows intention. This is your intention, and literally it aligns all of those energetic layers.
Yeah. So by that time, you can't be angry anymore. And if you get yourself through this formula at least one time while being actively possessed by some emotion, you will see how it shifts your perception and gives you space between yourself and your emotional state. And that is the real power and real freedom that you can have when you are master over your own reactions. That's what we wish all of you to manage.
So this is the sharing that we had for you. We have a little homework for you, if you feel like, and this is watching the movie that completely shows the inner emotions and how they play out completely independent from you. And it's an animation, Pixar animated movie that is called Inside Out. Check it out. Especially anger, what the anger does. So
it gives a nice visual, so you can see what's happening.
It's amazing. It's so beautifully showing how without your higher self, these lower emotions are making complete mess. So there you go. That's what we had for you guys. Any questions that you have,
or if you have,
or
if
any
we have
comments,
time
or
for questions or comments.
Thank you very much, Vitorio and Evia. This is really awesome. And if you guys have any questions, just unmute yourself and or type it in.
I do have a question.
Go ahead, Jackie.
Everyone, thank you so much. That was really helpful. My question is, if I don't have time to go through the whole process, can I just jump like to the latest one?
Yeah, exactly. You know, now that you have the steps, you can practice on dry land. You know, you don't have to be in the state. Like if you memorize at least one or some steps of the 10 steps, keep it as a cheat sheet in your agenda. Or somewhere that you can see, or make it into some sort of drawing that you will remember. And whatever you remember to get to, even just jumping to shake the energy out, it's good. And then more and more you'll take conscious about your state.
But don't stay only in that jumping. Yeah, the goal is to get all of these 10 steps, and eventually it will go really, really fast. It took us half an hour to explain, but when you do it, it goes very, very fast.
It's literally not even 5 minutes.
Yeah, I was going to say it becomes faster and faster, right? When you sort of start the recognition process, that whole like the first 5 steps, you can move through it really quickly. And
Yes.
Yeah. The crucial is the first time where you actually realize that you are doing it to yourself, and you start taking responsibility. So that is the key. Well, basically to every other emotion as well.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
Any other questions?
Yeah, thank you. I just have a question, and thank you very much for this instruction. And well, it's probably only kind of a little bit of a remark I would like to say, only because you just mentioned what I don't like too much is like this kind of centering, to a physical kind of coordinate system. So you said that center of the galaxy and towards the sun, center of the earth, because actually there is no center. So actually the real center is the nothingness in ourself. This is actually the center we have to focus, because, you know, if you take it kind of from a physical perspective, right? So if you saw to the center of the galaxy, so we have 100 billion galaxies in the universe. So what kind of galaxy you want to center in? The center is actually the nothingness, which is a part of yourself. You know, to be just like from a philosophical point of view. So that's the reason why when I meditate, and this is what I usually did, and I understand this is probably easier for the human mankind to center, to focus on something which is in a 3D coordinate system, right? But actually, when you meditate for a long time, then you realize that there is no center. There is actually the nothingness, which is creating everything in space. So actually, so the center is always in you. So you don't have to look for the center. You know what I mean?
Thank you, Franz. This is a good point.
Yeah.
And
the whole purpose of putting the words, even, you know, we don't discuss the philosophical point of view here. It's actually to bring your attention to your verticality. Yeah. And when people are ungrounded, let's say they can't focus, they're agitated, they're all over the place. However, you know, whatever is their state of ungroundedness, if I just command the verticality, the connection to the earth, the life, you know, the planet, wherever, whichever point, and reestablish the verticality, all of their systems come together. So that's what we're looking for. We can call it any way we want. Is just to, you know, however you can pull yourself together and make yourself plugged back into this physical reality, because we're multidimensional beings and we exist in so many places at the same time.
And another explanation that actually kind of adds to what you are saying is, in a chemical view of the things, you have this same picture of what's going outside of you, also inside. So if you feel like aligning to the center of your heart, you will find exact copy, like the flipped copy of the cosmos that's outside. So, you know, if you just visualize something above your head, and it might be even sun, that's close, we know it's there, so you can use that. As long as there is something above and something below, and we cannot deny that there is something above and something below, because we feel differently when we are standing up and we are lying down.
Yeah.
Everything else, whatever science examines and however science explains things, it's their own experience. What is important for us is our own experiential reality, not what has somebody told us. So I like that you said that you have found this out through your meditation. It means it's your experience, so go with that. But look for something above your head and something below you. That defines verticality for you.
For the purpose
yeah, exactly. So I understand that but I think it's still an illusion, right? So it means that we are still, we say that the 3D space, the 3D space in time is still an illusion we construct in our mind.
Yeah.
The truth, the truth is the entity which is constructing this reality. And the truth is our inner self. So we are looking at the entity as we construct it in our mind.
I think it really is a matter of nomenclature, right? And how you perceive the reality. Some people perceive a God, some people think of it as the center of the universe, some people see it as an inner truth. So these rituals, oftentimes, they really just help us
to focus our thoughts.
Exactly, focus our thoughts. So it doesn't really matter what we call them. But I think the important is that you take out of this is that, whenever you feel some external things controlling you, just bringing the control and attention to you. So I just wanted to really encourage you guys to try it, because it's something that really works, and for me, it has transformed my reality in many different ways, not specifically this, but the methods that Vitorio and Evia teach, and to really bring back and really feel that you are responsible for whatever it is that you're feeling, because that's kind of the first step in starting to create your own reality, right? So as soon as you all of a sudden see that it's not the external reality that's there controlling you, and that it's you that's creating those reactions, it's the first step in really making that shift. So I really wanted to thank you for bringing this incredible transformative process and many others that you have and are sharing with people. And if we have any other questions or comments, we have, I guess, time for maybe just one more. And if not, then the video that you sent me, I will, if it's okay, I'll post it on the Embody Wellness page. And if you guys want to access it to try it out at home, I'll make it available.
You have it. Yes, you have it. You can.
Yeah, together with the recording of this webinar.
Yes. Great. Well, thank you all. Beautiful having you. And thank you for being with us and for trusting and receiving this what we had to share.
Yeah, let's create.
Thank you very much, Vitorio and Evia.
Exactly.
Yeah, thank you everyone for being here, for listening, and I really wish you guys a very peaceful and transformative end of the year. This is going to be the last webinar for this year, so thank you for being here, and thanks again, Vitoria, Evia. You guys just went black for a second. I guess it's a sign that it's... Thanks, everyone.
Yeah, thank you, Bella.
Thank
you, everyone.
Big hug.
Thanks, Bella, for organizing all of it. It was great, amazing.
Thank you, Jackie. Thank you for always being here and watching. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Bella. Evia, Vitorio.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. It was amazing. It was great. Thank you, all of you. Such amazing couple. Thank you, Bella, for organizing. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you, Daniela. Bye. See you later.
Bye.
Bye-bye.